What's going on, guys? Chandler here. So this is going to be my new segment on my YouTube channel called First Listen Review that is taken from my $5 tier full album reactions. So I react to the entire album, and then at the very end I give my overall thoughts and initial thoughts and a score on the album as a whole. So again, if you do like what you see and want to support the channel going forward, head over to patreon.com/ChandlerBurtonEntertainment. This is exclusive to the $5 tier. Again, you get a full album reaction, review, and a whole bunch of other perks as well if you guys are interested. And again, there's always a link down below in the description and in the pinned comment. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and thank you all so much for watching. Alright, my friends, again, Nothing, Nowhere with the brand new album called Void Eternal. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm checking this band out for a couple of reasons. Number one, they featured on a Silverstein song that I like, again, Live Like This off their album Misery Made Me. Really like that song, and I love the guy's voice, so I was like, this is great. Also, again, they're touring with Wage War and Spite, which I think is really cool. I love Wage War, my favorite band of all time, and I really like Spite. Their new album was super sick. So I thought that was pretty cool. Also, what I thought was really interesting as well is that there is a bunch of features on this album. So like Will Ramos of Lorna Shore, See You Space Cowboy, I believe. I know the guy from Silverstein's on here. And also there's like a whole bunch of other people. Static Dress, which my friend David Wolf really enjoys. Make sure you check him out. He's awesome. Again, Under Oath is featured on here, so it's like a ton of artists. And also, I remember my friend Ben as well. He also, I think, is a really big fan of this band, from what I can remember. Really cool guy. Make sure you go check out David and Ben. I'll try to remember to leave their social media links in the description of the video. But without further ado, guys, I, again, have no idea what to expect. It's a 42-minute album. It's always interesting to start the journey and see where it's going to end. The titles are also very interesting as well. So the first song is called Anxiety. I also, really quick as well, put the titles of the songs on the official visualizers because they don't have the names on them. And again, I have to pick out, whatever wins the vote. I got to pick out a clip, so it was kind of hard for me to like. Anyway, I'm just rambling, so I'm just going on and on. So let's go on and pop it off here. Again, Nothing, Nowhere, Void Eternal. Not heard one song from this album. Let's pop it off in 3, 2, and 1.
A few moments later.
Dude, it's kind of one of those things where when you don't listen to any song off an album before and you kind of just jump into it because you're like, you know what, I'll just give it a shot, there's always a risk-reward factor. For example, I remember like a year ago or so, I tried to do Panic at the Disco's new album and I couldn't even finish. That is the only album from Patreon that I was like, I can't finish this album. Like, I legitimately cannot. I posted it a while ago saying, like, I tried to get through it, but I hated it so much that I just could not get through the cringe. I just could not handle it. So, and I love Panic at the Disco, but I could not get through that album. With this band, I had no idea what I was getting into, and I was kind of worried. I was like, am I going to be able to get through this? Because again, I haven't heard one song from this album, but happy to say that I rather enjoyed this album. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought it was really good. Had a lot of stuff going for it, and I'm really excited to talk about it. So, my first listen review for this new album, Nothing, Nowhere, Void Eternal, is coming up next, so please stick around for that, and let's talk about it. Alright, my friends, so again, that was the band Nothing, Nowhere, as I just mentioned, and their new album, Void Eternal. Again, we just got done jamming the entire thing. Again, I think this album is a good way to look at my life, because sometimes we got to take risk and we will get a reward, because I honestly got to say that I really enjoyed this album all the way through. This was a lot of fun to listen to, man. So let's go ahead and break down the pros, some of the cons, my top 3 songs, and I will give it a score at the very end. So I would say pro number 1 is that I really liked all the vocal styles that was in this album. I mean, you got fantastic singing. That's what I said in the beginning, where it's like, dude, I loved his singing on the Silverstein song Live Like This. I thought he sounded fantastic. And then you also have like some like there's yelling in there, like not so much scream, but like kind of some yelling moments that I like really impacted the songs a little bit. You have some screaming, which is really cool, not just from the features, but I don't know the vocalist's name, but there was some scream for him as well that I sounded really cool. And of course the rapping. I know the rapping may come off as a little bit, cheesy to some people, especially like in this genre of like rock and metal or whatever, but I thought the rapping was really, really good. Like I thought it was really cool. I thought it flowed well. I thought it was really unique to the songs. Granted, some of the lyrics weren't the best, but we will talk about that in a little bit when it comes to the rapping part. But overall, man, I think the different vocal styles on this album was incredible. Makes it stand out from a lot of other albums that have been dropping so far this year. I would also say that this album has a ton of variety. So again, you have like kind of your trap rap type music, you got like rock music, you got like pop punk type choruses and riffs, you got metalcore, you have a whole bunch of different flavors on this album that, again, I feel like there's another album where someone can listen to it and be like, you know what, I may not enjoy the entire thing, but there's going to be at least one song on there that I can vibe with. Maybe it's a song that has a feature of a band that you really like, or maybe something else on there. So again, there's just a lot of variety that really works in this artist's favor to really keep people coming back and not getting bored with the album. I mean, I was never bored with this album because there was so much variety on it. Thought they did a really good job of crafting this album. I'd also say, again, the features on this were really great. I did not know every single feature, but again, of course, I know Will absolutely killed it. I think he did a little bit of singing on that song, mostly screaming, but he sounded great. Like his voice actually fit really well into like a metalcore part of the song, which I'm like, obviously he's associated with deathcore. Like Lauren Shore is the king of deathcore right now. Like they are the #1 talked about band, as they should be, because they are very good. I know I complain about them a lot, but I don't take away from the talent that they have as a band. But also you get stuff like Under Oath on here, where it's like, dude, I've seen Under Oath on everything lately. I mean, it's just crazy that this band's been around for so long. I mean, they were on Sleeping in Sirens, they were with August Burns Red, and now they're doing Nothing Nowhere. Like, I'm like, they're literally everywhere, which is like really, really cool for Under Oath fans. I'm a very casual listener of them, but it's cool to see them like just kind of get all this attention again. I think that's really, really cool. And then the last pro that I give it is that I think the structures of these songs are really cool. I mean, there's a lot of like music out there that is your typical verse, chorus, those types of things. And while this album, did have that, it was unique enough where I was like, man, the structures are like really cool. For example, I think Suicide Pact was incredible. It went from like rapping to a really fun, like intense, like atmospheric singing chorus, and then it's got like a breakdown in it, and then it raps and sings some more, and I'm like, this is actually like really cool. And the rapping, in my opinion, sounded pretty good on that song. So again, there's just a lot that I like from this album, and I think, if some people give this album a chance, they're going to find something on this album that they're really going to enjoy. And I say that because it's like, my mom or my sisters or someone will be able to be like, you know what, I kind of like this album, so I thought it was really cool. While no album is perfect, I do have a couple of cons that I just wanted to mention in regards to Void Eternal. I would say, number one, this is kind of a devil's advocate kind of moment here, because if you watched, again, obviously this, I don't know, if the song wins the poll, then it'll be on YouTube, but for example, like Thirst for Violence, like that song is so cool, but it's also really corny at the same time. So it's like, anytime the rapping comes on, for the majority of it, it sounds okay, but there's just a few times where it's just like, the rapping just comes off as a little bit cheesy. Like, the beginning of Thirst for Violence is like, it's raining in April, country boy up north cooking maple, we cooking beats in the woods, farm to table, yeah, I remember cutting vocals in the hatchback, studio gold plaque, then I said, I don't know, for me, little bit cheesy. I understand the message they're trying to get across, and maybe the song was just supposed to be fun. Shane from Silverstein is on there, and Fred, another artist on there that I don't know is on that song, but Shane sounded really cool in the chorus. But like overall, man, it was a little bit cheesy, but again, I had so much fun with it that it's kind of a devil's advocate kind of thing, where some people are gonna think that's cheesy. I liked it, but it's still, again, a little bit cheesy, even though I kind of my guilty pleasure song. I thought it was really cool. But I'd also say, like, my biggest con is that I think the production is a little bit inconsistent, where, like, the guitar work sometimes seemed a little bit quiet. It sometimes felt like the vocals were kind of pushed into the mix a little bit too much. So, but then there was times where it sounded great. So I would say, for me, kind of an inconsistent production on this album, but again, it doesn't weigh it down too much. Just a couple of things that I noticed on this album that I thought could be improved. My top 3 favorite songs from this album, I would say number 1 is Tragedy featuring Will Ramos. I thought that was really cool. Cool to hear Will kind of come out of his comfort zone a little bit. I think he did a little bit of singing on it, just a little bit. But again, it's cool to hear his voice on more of a rock metal core type song. I thought he did really good. I thought he sounded awesome, actually. So props to him. That song was really cool. Had a lot of different styles in that song, and I really enjoyed that. I'd also say, again, I really like Suicide Pact, man. I like the message in that song. I thought the rapping on that was pretty good. I thought the breakdown was cool. That one, like, for me, especially with, like, the really good lyrics, I think really relatable lyrics, that song definitely stood out to me. So definitely really like that song. And honestly, I listened to it again just to want to make sure, to see if I want to put it on my list, but I really liked Venom. The more I listened to it, the more I was like, man, this is really cool. And then having Under Oath come in, kind of having that little heavier moment, I thought really just had the song kind of boosted up a little bit. And I really enjoyed their feature. Again, I'm a very casual Under Oath fan, so like, I don't know, their part was super sick on that song. But those are the 3 songs that stuck out to me on Nothing Nowhere's new album, Void Eternal. This album proves to me that I need to take more risks in my life, because again, I had no idea what to expect. I've heard that Nothing Nowhere is more of like a trap type artist, like it was like a bunch of rap, but while there was like a lot of rap in it, and I don't mind rap music, it's not my favorite genre, but I don't mind it at all. I mean, like, I listen to Juice WRLD and stuff all the time. I think Juice WRLD is great, but it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I didn't know what I was going to get. But I'm really glad I took the risk, because for me personally, I felt very rewarded by this album. It was well paced, like, and I never felt bored because there was so much variety on this album. I thought the choruses were absolutely fantastic, like big monstrous chorus here. Again, when the production sounded really good, like some of those choruses were just soaring, and like the vocals with it too. Like everything about this worked really good. I was just pleasantly surprised with this album. And again, I don't know how big this artist is. I have not listened to any other music from this band before, but it sounds like I need to go back and check out some other music in my own free time, because again, I really enjoyed Void Eternal. You know what? I'm gonna be the score may be a little bit high, but I think this album deserves it. I really enjoyed it. Maybe because again, I was just so surprised that I'm giving it like such a high score, but I'm gonna give Nothing Nowhere Void Eternal an 8 out of 10. I really thought it was something cool, something, dare I say, special. Like, I really liked it. I've not really heard a lot of artists pull off what this guy is doing really well, like so fluently. And I loved it, man. I'm glad I took the risk, because again, as I just said in the beginning, I definitely reaped the reward of this album. I think it's fantastic.